Have you ever had the feeling that, in the blink of an eye, everything around you seems slightly different, as if the world had changed without you noticing? What if these changes were more than mere coincidences or perception flaws, but as if you were constantly shifting between different realities without even realizing it? Parallel realities are not a concept reserved only for science fiction. They are part of a vast field of study that quantum physics explores, revealing the possibility of infinite versions of reality coexisting at the same time. But how does this affect your life? Well, perhaps in a much more direct way than many imagine. Every decision, every thought, and every emotion can create an imperceptible shift, a path that leads you to a new version of yourself and the world around you. Often, these transitions are subtle, almost unnoticeable, but sometimes they can be so profound that they completely challenge your understanding of what is real. Understanding the nature of parallel realities is recognizing that the present is not fixed, but fluid, moldable. The version of you that is here now may not be the same as it was a minute ago, and it is in this constant movement that the power of transformation lies. A shift in your perception can completely change the direction of your life, aligning you with a higher version of yourself. So, how do these realities manifest in your daily life? And more importantly, how can you identify if you've already shifted to a new reality? So today, you will discover the signs that you've shifted to a parallel reality. Perhaps you've already moved into another reality without even noticing. The deeper you dive into this topic, the more you will start to realize that the very essence of your life may be shaped by these invisible changes, constantly pushing you toward your true potential. If everything around you can change so subtly that you hardly notice, what is really happening with your reality? The idea of parallel realities might sound complex, but at its core, it suggests that life is not linear. Instead, we are constantly navigating different versions of reality, shaped by our choices, thoughts, and emotions. Imagine your life as a vast ocean of possibilities. Each wave represents a new version of your reality. As you make decisions, these waves reorganize themselves, creating a new path. This path can be almost identical to the previous one or completely different. What defines this transition is the state of our consciousness, and often we only become aware of the change once it has already taken place. Quantum physics gives us a powerful analogy to understand how these transitions happen. Essentially, it teaches us that the universe is made up of probabilities. Every event, every choice, generates a series of probabilities that may or may not manifest in the reality you are currently living. In simple terms, what you perceive as your present is just one version of an infinite number of possible realities. When you wake up in the morning and decide to change a habit, for example, you may be laying the foundation for a transition between realities. However, this transition does not manifest abruptly. It is subtle, almost like the shift from one scene to another in a movie. And this is where the concept of continuity comes in. Just like a film reel is made up of individual frames, which, when projected at high speed, create the illusion of continuous motion, your life also seems like a linear sequence of events. But in reality, every second you are moving through different frames of reality. What maintains this illusion of continuity is your mind, which connects these fragmented moments and interprets them as a cohesive narrative. These constant transitions are natural, and often you experience them without even realizing it. For example, when you notice a small change in your environment, something is out of place, an object seems to be in a slightly different position from where you left it, you may have, in fact, shifted into a new reality. These seemingly insignificant changes may be subtle signs that you are moving between these parallel realities. And although these transitions may seem small, their impact on your life can be profound. Understanding this concept is crucial to realizing just how much you can truly shape your own experience. You are not merely a passive observer of reality. On the contrary, you are an active creator, always influencing the different realities unfolding around you. Every choice you make, no matter how insignificant it may seem, has the power to move you into a new line of reality. But this understanding leads to a fundamental question. If we are always moving between these realities, how can we use this power for our personal evolution? How can we align with the version of ourselves we truly want to be? On this path of self-discovery, learning to identify these moments of transition can be the first step toward consciously transforming your reality. If you pay attention to the small details in your life, you may begin to notice that, from time to time, something seems out of place. Perhaps you are absolutely certain where you left your keys, but suddenly, you find them in a different place. Or maybe there's that inexplicable feeling that something in your environment has changed, even though at first glance, everything seems the same. These small adjustments in reality may be one of the subtlest signs that you are shifting between different versions of the world around you. These changes, no matter how small, carry a deeper meaning. When a parallel reality comes into play, what seems like a simple discrepancy, something out of place, a feeling of discontinuity, may be a direct reflection of a transition into another line of reality. At that moment, you are no longer exactly where you were before. Imagine your life as a series of paths, each leading to a different destination. Every decision you make, every choice, every emotion you feel is tracing these paths. But some deviations are so small that they go unnoticed, as if you were making slight adjustments in direction without realizing it. But even these micro-adjustments can set you on a completely new course. These movements can be as simple as the feeling of déjà vu, a sense that you've lived that moment before, but with a small difference. It's as if you're reliving a slightly different version of the present. Sometimes, the changes are so subtle that they only become apparent over time when you start noticing a series of small alterations in your daily life. Beyond objects out of place, there are moments when you can feel a shift in your own energy. Perhaps you wake up one day with an inexplicable sense of clarity, a renewed sense of purpose, as if suddenly something inside you has aligned. These are signs that something has changed internally, and your external reality is beginning to reflect that change. Recognizing these shifts is the first step to understanding just how much you truly influence your reality. It's not just about noticing a key in a different place. It's about realizing that these small adjustments can be signs of a much larger transformation. These subtle movements are always happening, and the more you become aware of them, the more you can use this awareness to shape your future consciously. By aligning with these changes and recognizing that they indicate a transition, you can start making more conscious choices. Instead of just reacting to the world around you, you become a co-creator of your own reality. This mindfulness of the details helps strengthen your connection to the version of yourself you want to be, making the process of personal development something tangible and present. Observing these small transitions, however, requires more than simple attention. It's necessary to be present and conscious of the moment. Often we are so immersed in our daily routines that we fail to notice the subtle changes occurring around us. When you start asking yourself, "What is different?" or "Why does this seem out of place?" you begin to open a new door of perception. And that door leads to a deeper understanding of how your reality is always adjusting, shaped by your choices and intentions. As you become more attuned to these signs, you also align more and more with the parallel version of yourself. Every small adjustment in reality is an opportunity for reflection. So when you notice something like this, try to reflect. How does this change reflect who I'm becoming? It's in this state of awareness that the true power of transformation begins to emerge. Sometimes you can remember an event from the past with total clarity, only to discover later that it did not happen exactly as you remembered. This phenomenon, in which memories seem to change shape or adjust in unexpected ways, can be a sign that you have undergone a transition between parallel realities. When we shift to a new reality, our memories may subtly adjust, creating a new narrative of the past that feels familiar but is not exactly the same as it once was. Our memory is not an exact recording of events. In fact, it is highly malleable. The brain, in its adaptive capacity, reconstructs memories every time we access them. This means that every time you recall something, you are potentially altering small details of that memory. What seemed clear and unchangeable can suddenly seem hazy or even different. This is what neuroscience calls brain plasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and change, reorganizing neural connections according to new experiences and information. But this capacity for reconstruction is not just a peculiarity of the human mind. It is also a way of adapting to the new reality in which we find ourselves. When we consider the concept of parallel realities, this takes on a new dimension. If every time you change reality there is a subtle alteration in your lifeline, it makes sense that your memories will also undergo adjustments. That event that seemed clear before may, in a new reality, have different details. And what is even more intriguing is that these changes don't happen abruptly. They are so smooth that at first you may not even notice something is different until you confront a new version of that memory. This phenomenon is often related to the idea of false memory, where you are sure something happened a certain way, but when you check, the details are different. A popular example of this effect is the so-called Mandela effect, where large groups of people remember an event or fact differently from the recorded reality. These divergent memories often create discomfort because they challenge the very notion of continuity and stability. However, this phenomenon is not just a psychological curiosity. It reveals the malleability of our perception. Brain plasticity shows us that our mind is constantly restructuring and reorganizing memories according to our new understanding of reality. This does not mean our memories are false or invalid. It means they are dynamic interpretations, shaped both by our own experiences and the current context. These small adjustments could be signs that you are accessing that memory from a new reality, where certain aspects of the past have been reinterpreted or reorganized to align with your current version of yourself. The more you pay attention to these moments, the more evident it becomes how fluid the perception of the past can be. And this transformation happens not just around you, but also within you, adjusting how you connect with your own memories. The big question here is, to what extent is the past you remember fixed? If each new version of reality brings with it new ways of interpreting what has already happened, then what really is the past? By understanding how malleable our memories are, we also realize that we are not prisoners of what we believe has happened. Just as the present is flexible, the past can also be viewed from a new perspective. This understanding gives us power. When we understand this, we can learn to loosen the bonds that the past places on us. Stories of pain, regret, or frustration can be recontextualized. You can free yourself from old narratives that hold you back, knowing that the past you remember may be just one version among many. And just as reality adjusts, you can choose which version of the past you want to carry forward. Moreover, science shows us that when we access memories, we activate specific neural networks. As our consciousness expands and changes, these networks are also modified. Each time we revisit a memory, it is edited based on our current state of being. So, the perception of the past becomes a reflection of who we are in the present, not just who we were at the time the event occurred. This realization that the past can also change as your reality shifts is truly liberating. It allows you to see your personal history as more fluid, not as something that defines who you are, but as a collection of experiences that can be reinterpreted. And as you evolve and change, your memories follow this process, adapting to your new reality. At certain moments, reality seems to break suddenly, as if something no longer fits the expected sequence of events. These moments of discontinuity, when the normal flow of things seems to shift without logical explanation, can be clear signs that you've shifted into a parallel reality. Moments when something drastic seems to have been avoided by a thread, which often leave us perplexed, as if the very sequence of events had been skipped or adjusted, can also be seen as signs of a shift to a parallel reality. And perhaps, on a deeper level, this is exactly what happened. These breaks in continuity are not just coincidences or lapses in perception. They can be signs that, on a quantum level, you've shifted into a new version of reality, a reality where a disaster was avoided, for example. This suggests that when facing a potentially impactful event, your consciousness made a quick transition to a reality where the outcome was different from what initially seemed inevitable. These transitions can happen so suddenly that the mind tries to justify what occurred. You might ask yourself, how did I get out of that situation so quickly? Or why does this feel so surreal? When confronted with these events, our logical mind may try to find an explanation, but often there is no rational answer that fully satisfies our doubt. This feeling that something is not right may be an indication that you made an abrupt shift between realities, jumping into a line where the tragic or dramatic outcome didn't materialize. These moments of discontinuity are especially common in extreme risk situations, like near accidents or moments of emotional crisis, where the intensity of the event seems to break the usual flow of time. There are stories of people who, in near-death situations, experienced a moment of suspension, where time seemed to slow down or stop, and then, suddenly, everything returned to normal, as if nothing dangerous had happened. These episodes can be reflections of quantum transitions to another line of reality. This notion is deeply connected to the understanding that, in each parallel reality, different outcomes are possible. In one reality, the accident could have occurred, while in another, you escaped unharmed. When going through moments of great emotional or physical intensity, your consciousness may be in a heightened state of receptivity, which facilitates this transition between realities. What may seem at first glance to be an inexplicable event may actually be a reflection of a shift to a version of your life where the outcome was more favorable. These breaks in continuity can also serve as powerful reminders that reality is not as fixed as it seems. The rigidity we often attribute to our everyday experience may be just an illusion. When these events occur, they challenge us to reevaluate our beliefs about what is real and how reality can be shaped. And this opens up a new dimension of possibilities. If you can shift to a reality where something tragic was avoided, what else could you change or influence in your own life? So, remember that these inexplicable moments of discontinuity can be seen as opportunities for awakening. They force us to stop and reconsider the world around us and the role we play in creating this experience. Instead of fearing or disregarding these events, we can learn to see them as portals to new possibilities, to new paths of existence that are constantly available to us. Now that you recognize the subtle signs of transitioning between realities, small adjustments in daily life, changes in the perception of the past, and breaks in continuity, an important question arises. What can you do with this knowledge? When consciously identified, these signs empower you to take control of your experience. Knowing that reality is fluid, that time and events are not immutable, allows you to see life as a field of infinite possibilities. This perception transforms the way you interact with the world, because now, instead of being a passive spectator of events, you become the active creator of your destiny. To shape the reality you want to live, it is essential to be in tune with the present moment. The now is the only tangible reality, the point of power from which all future possibilities are shaped. When you connect with the present, you align with your ability to transform what is to come. By paying attention to what is happening now, your emotions, thoughts, and actions, you begin to direct the energy of your consciousness toward the reality you wish to manifest. One of the most effective ways to take control of your reality is through the practice of visualization. By imagining the ideal version of yourself, you begin to create a mental map that guides your actions and behaviors. Visualization is not just a technique of positive thinking, it is a powerful tool for creation. When you visualize, your brain starts to create new neural networks that reflect this image of yourself, making this ideal version more accessible and real. The key here is to visualize in a detailed and emotionally engaging way, allowing yourself to feel as if you are already living that desired reality. In addition to visualization, adopting consistent daily habits that reflect this new version of yourself is crucial. Small actions, when practiced with intention, have an accumulative effect. For example, if you wish to align with a reality where you are healthier, you start by incorporating small adjustments, like healthy eating habits or a regular exercise routine. These habits, although they seem simple, begin to shape your perception and, eventually, your reality. Over time, these actions become a natural part of who you are, and the new reality you seek begins to manifest tangibly. Furthermore, a fundamental aspect of consciously choosing your reality is paying attention to your emotional state. Emotions are powerful guides that indicate whether you are aligned or misaligned with the reality you desire. When you are emotionally in tune with the reality you want, you will see that the path to that reality unfolds more smoothly. The concept that we are always in transition, moving between different realities, can be seen as a natural part of the process of personal growth. Life is essentially a continuous cycle of transformation. The version of you that existed a year ago is no longer the same, and the version of you that will exist in the future will be shaped by the choices you make today. Each transition, no matter how small, is a step toward a new reality, and the more aware you are of these changes, the more you can direct them to align with your goals and desires. And when you understand that these transitions are natural, it brings a sense of peace. Instead of resisting change or feeling lost during moments of discontinuity, you can learn to accept them as part of the evolution process. Life is not a straight and stable line. It is a constant flow, and each change is an opportunity to recalibrate and realign with the reality that resonates most with your true self. The power to choose your reality is not about trying to control every detail, but about becoming aware that in every moment, you are shaping the world around you with your thoughts, emotions, and actions. This knowledge is liberating because when you understand that reality is not happening to you, but rather responding to you, you free yourself from the feeling of powerlessness. So, remember, the power is in your hands. Each day, with each choice, you can align yourself more closely with the ideal version of yourself, and in doing so, you'll begin to see the world around you adjust to reflect this new reality. Thank you for embarking on this journey with me. If this video resonated with you, I invite you to like and subscribe to our channel. Share this video with others so they can benefit from this message. And don't forget to leave a comment below sharing your thoughts, reflections, and experiences. Thanks again for watching and for joining me. Take care and see you soon.